Let me just go ahead and start a prayer. Namami dhanvantarim hadidevam surasurairvandita padapadmam loke jararubhayamrityunasham धातारमीशं विविधौषधीनाम् ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. All right, welcome everybody. Okay. All right, so we have a good quorum. So, what is women health, right? It's more important, and all of us are in different stages of life and understanding it differently. And I wanted to just get an Ayurvedic view of understanding women health. And I want to start it from puberty, and then we'll go stages and we'll talk about different conditions, if that's okay with all of you. So, in Ayurveda, I know some of you have joined, new to the session. But for those of you who have been with me for the past 1 year, I can't believe it's been a year that we've started these monthly webinars. But I know we've methodically been talking about all the doshas. So Ayurveda talks about cause and effect principle. It is not that suddenly during puberty, there's this ovum that comes out and the menstruation suddenly comes out of anywhere. No, it is present at birth itself. All the eggs that are needed for us are all with us when we were born only. We have thousands of them when we were born. Now, they're all dormant, just like in my garden, I was waiting for the flowers to bloom, and I've been waiting for 2 months. And I'm like, oh my God, is this going to come for Navratri? There's an auspicious season that's happening next week for us. And I'm like, is this going to bloom at that time? And I was waiting and I was watering. And now suddenly there's buds that coming out, right? It's not like suddenly they're coming out. It is innate in it. And it's just flowering. It's just time for it right now. That's exactly what puberty is. When it is time for the eggs to mature, that's when you see. Now we all know, and you all know that I'm going to be asking you questions. What is the stage of the bala, which is a child? What dosha stage is that? Is it vata? Is it pitta? Is it kapha? There is it the child stage of it. What stage is it? I know we spoke about it, and that's why I'm just asking if any of you remember, or you can just guesswork also.
Kapha, right?
Very good. 10 on 10. It is a kapha. It's a building stage of the women at that time. So much building is happening. And when it hits after the building phase, what happens is there's transformation. And for that transformation to happen, what do we need? We need pitta, right? So when the building stage, so it is dormant, it was present in utero, it was there, and then it was building, allowing it to sustain throughout the life. And once the body knows that it's sustained and proper amount of heat is given to the body, proper amount of pitta is given, that's when the maturation happens. And you see that there is, small development of breast, underarm pubic hair happens, and the different changes that happen in the body, acne development, all of this happens before puberty hits. And once that heat knows that transformation is now possible, then the first ovum is released, and that's when the menstruation, the endometrial lining is formed on the uterus, and then the menstruation happens. And this happens in stages according to Ayurveda also. The pituitary, which is present in our brain, is the one that senses and maintains this homeostasis and maintains this kind of hormones in the body, right? There must be estrogen in the first phase of our menstruation. Building must happen right after the period was done. So let's imagine that, period is done, you're all clean right now. Now estrogen is on the rise because it has to build right now. What is it? It's a kapha stage. So there's more building that's happening, allowing for implantation to happen, because it's always every month it is waiting for implantation and it is preparing the body for that implantation. So estrogen rises in the body. That is the kapha stage that increases in the body. Later on, when it comes to a maximum, when it knows that enough of the accumulation has been done, that's when progesterone is released, because you want it to hold this progesterone. It's like, imagine if you were to make a clay pot. Estrogen is like getting that mud and clay and all of that together. And this progesterone is making the proper shape. You want to make sure that there is that proper shape that is formed, so that when ovum is released and sperm comes in, there is proper implantation, proper shape that is present. And that's the progesterone that is present. Now, when ovum comes in, it waits for the sperm, and if there's no conjugation, that's when it knows that all of this buildup that has been done for all this month has to just release. So that is the menstruation that's happening. Now, kapha has happened, building stage has happened, transformation has happened. There's a proper, kind of a form that's formed, pitta. Now, the next phase is vata. That's when everything has to shed out of the body, because it's the air and the space element that sheds it out of the body. Imagine, we call this as artava vahashrutas in Ayurveda, where all of these small channels like hair follicles, all of these channels are collecting all of this blood, and it is waiting in the uterus, and when it is right time, that's when it goes out to the body. So that's the physiology that's been happening every month. Now, the plasma that is formed right after we eat our food, we know that that's the first tissue that's formed. I know, I'm assuming that you all know this. Again, if not, you can always go back to my old videos and catch up with all the old videos. But we spoke about this in the past, where the ahara rasa, the food that we eat, the first tissue that is formed is your rasadhatu, which is your plasma, your lymphatic system, all of this that is flowing all over your body. Now, the excreta after the plasma is formed, the unnecessary things that is excreted out of the body after the plasma is formed, is now collecting into these uterine cavities. Let's just imagine that throughout the month. Now, what do you understand about it? The quality of the food that you eat becomes the quality of your plasma, becomes the quality of the blood that has been collecting throughout the month. So you eat hot food, you get hot period. You eat sticky food, you get sticky period. It is as easy and simple as that. And that is why we always have to go back and look at what is the kind of foods that we've been eating. What are the kinds of foods? If your menstruation has changed, if the quality of your menstruation has changed, go back and look at all the foods that you've been eating in the past 2 to 3 months. You will find an answer. This is the phenomenon that happens throughout the month. Now, another thing that our rasadhatu, which is your plasma, is very close to in our body is mind. Right? Rasavaha shrotas dushti. Any vitiation, any abnormalities has to happen to plasma. It is because of the mind. Any chinta, which is fear or overthinking, shoka, grief, bhaya, worry, fear, all of these thoughts is going to affect your plasma. Right? There is a clear indication that there is a line that's written in Ayurveda. It's called Chintyanam cha Atichintanat. Whenever there is all of these fear, worry, grief, all of these mental components of your emotion, they are going to affect your plasma. And once it affects your plasma, it's going to affect your menstruation. Now go back and look at their emotional factors that has been happening if your period has changed. And then the third thing is your lifestyle factors. So now that these cavities, is artavava shrotas. I know I want you all to also know the terminology, and that's why I keep talking about this terminology. But if any time you do not understand anything, please do not hesitate to let me know so that I will not speak in that terminology. But I'll try to do both the translations. That way, we are all speaking in the same language. So let's imagine all of these channels that are collecting blood throughout the month. It's staying there, right? Now, any physical activity that you do throughout the month, your lifestyle that you do throughout the month, you had, you were preparing for a big meeting. You had to stay up all night and you have to prepare for it. What aggravates? What dosha aggravates? Vata aggravates. Or you had, your mother-in-law was visiting. No, just kidding. My mother-in-law is amazing. I cannot say anything about it. But you have anger, irritation, all of that that's happening. Then you see that there is pitta that is increased in the body. And this reservoir that has been collecting throughout the month is getting these qualities. Or you're lethargic, you're not moving at all, you're stagnated, then this reservoir gets these qualities. So you go back and look at the lifestyle that you have done. Look at how beautifully everything is connected. And now you have the puzzle pieces of how you can go back and look at how did my period change suddenly? Or why has my period been changing for all of this time? Why am I experiencing PMS? Why am I experiencing hot period? Why am I experiencing clots? Why am I experiencing scanty period? Why is my period irregular right now suddenly? Right? I wanted to give you a preview of what actually happens before we go into the exact conditions, and we can break down each condition, and with the information that we have right now, we'll be able to build upon it, right? So now that we know there is food that we eat affects your plasma directly, and that affects the menstruation, your emotional abilities, all of the emotional changes that happens, that is going to be affecting your plasma, and so it is going to be affecting your period. And your lifestyle that you do is going to be changing your doshas, and these doshas are traveling all over your body, and because it's going to go and affect the reservoir that is building throughout the month, is going to be affecting your period. Now, important to remember that there are multiple reasons. Yeah, we're gonna go to the questions and we're gonna break down each and every condition, Jigisha. But remember that another correlation that we have to do here is moon, mind, and period are all connected. There's 28 days for moon. There's a waxing and waning phase for moon as well. And you see that there is also a change in your own emotional capacity. There's full moon, your mind is affected because of full moon, and that also affects your period, right? If you are all aligned with the bigger consciousness and your own consciousness, you are going to observe that very, very keenly. So I wanted to give you all the factors that are involved. Now we'll go to the questions, and then we will break down each of the condition. Estrogen rises, it's considered kapha time. There are now recommendations to sync cycle to exercise, and recommendations for peak exercise correspond exactly to the kapha time of the cycle. And we'll talk about what are the do's and don'ts that Ayurveda has recommended during the menstruation and before menstruation. And absolutely right. the if you have to shorten your cycle or if you have to extend your cycle, depending upon what's happening, right? If your cycle is shortened, let's say 25 days only, then you want to make sure that you do things where you're reducing your pitta, because pitta is on the rise and it's hot and it's transforming very much. You want to do things that you're reducing your pitta. If there is a longer period and then you want to shorten it, you want to get it back to 35 days and you want to get it to 28 days, then this is what you want to do. You don't want the estrogen rise to be for a longer period of time, where kapha is for a longer period of time. Then you would recommend exercises during that time. And this is absolutely true. Science is absolutely catching up right now with all of these things. But it's beautiful. I love it how we're able to make these correlations and actually explain it to everybody that this is proper science. It's not just a grandma past medicine. And Jigisha, for clots, there could be two reasons, right? There is excessive kapha in the body, where imagine this slimy, sticky kind of mucosal type of either food or diet or lifestyle, stagnated lifestyle, then excessive kapha is present in the body. Along with it, there is also vata nature. Are you not able to hear me well? It says that my internet is unstable right now.
Is it just yeah, you're a little
All right.
frozen on my end as well, Manju. Okay, now you're
Okay,
back.
now I'm okay. Okay, good. I think something just happened, some
So
internet
yeah,
glitch.
you may have to repeat what
Okay,
you
okay. So
are.
we did not, I don't know how much you were able to get about the kapha. So we were talking about the clots, and I
Yeah,
was
so I don't
saying,
think we heard any of the answer to the clot question.
oh, okay. All right. Let me say it again. So with the clots, there is a lot of kapha, which is a slimy, sticky, mucosal kind of foods and stagnated type of lifestyle. Let's imagine all of that. And it's not necessary that you're doing it right now. It was done for a long period of time in the past. Let's imagine that. Then there is vata that's also there, where you're not sleeping well, you're not sleeping on time, or there's restless, there's anxiety. When that is happening, there's vata that's aggravated as well. This vata now goes and dries up your kapha, and that comes out as a clot. So that is the phenomenon of clotting. Vata, which is drying up your blood, is why clots can happen. You notice that the blood is probably a little bit darker in color and not very red. If it's very red, then pitta is much more. If it's darker in color, then vata is much more. If it is scanty, then vata is more. And clots coming out with pain, then you know that it is much more with vata than with kapha. If it is kapha, then it will not be painful. It will just come out easily. So that's the correlation that you would want to make. So then what you would want to do is definitely go back and address your diet of removing it from kapha and vata kind of a diet, and make sure the best thing to do is following a routine during your menstruation is extremely important. And we're going to tell you what are the things that you want to follow during your menstruation. But generally, vata and kapha pacifying diet is necessary. And pacifying diet and lifestyle is necessary for that. Yeah. How to reduce tiredness after periods. Okay. We'll talk about that also, Jyoti. Now, is it okay if we go back and we continue about the phenomenon that's happening? We spoke about puberty, we spoke about menstruation, and we spoke about how different doshas can create different kind of problems. Yeah. Now we'll also talk about what is the reason for multiple things to happen before periods, during periods, and after periods. Yeah. So before periods, what is happening? Sometimes there is either PMS or PMDD. There is, I mean, for some of us, it starts a week in advance. For some of us, it starts 10 days in advance. For some of us, it starts 1 day in advance. So what is really happening? You notice symptoms as if there is breast tenderness, there is edema, swelling, or there is lethargy, there's irritability. And a lot of times I've heard that the husbands are also putting app on the phone just to know when the wives are getting irritable. So that's something that I was hearing also. The husband comes and the husband is like, "Oh, I have the app in my phone. I know that she's irritable at this time," right? So what is really happening? All of this accumulation in the uterine cavity that is waiting to come out is now succumbed to a particular dosha. When a particular dosha is attacking that, remember that plasma has two ways that it excretes after it forms. The waste of the plasma goes out two ways. One, we spoke about menstruation, and the second thing is breast milk, which is why when there is excessive kapha, maybe, and when there's excessive accumulation, kaphaja prakriti is what we call kaphaja prakriti or vikriti, when there is excessive of kapha, then you see that, oh my God, is my internet unstable again?
No, we
Am I
can
clear? Okay. So it for some reason it said it's just playing with me right now. But okay. So this goes back and accumulates in the breast as well. And that's why the breast tenderness happens. And once the culprit goes out of the body, once the unnecessary fluid goes out of the body, then the breast comes back to normal, right? Understanding that your kapha has increased at that time and doing all the activities like the Bhanti has mentioned, doing your workout during your follicular phase, where you are working out very much so that the kapha that is being formed in the body is not going and affecting your uterine cavity. That is going to be very, very crucial. And following the diet, which is going, and then again, you will not see the change within the first month itself. It's going to be a very minor change you will see, but consistently, if you follow, I guarantee you will see the difference. Yeah. That's number one, where the breast tenderness, swelling, any of that happens. Number two, there is irritability and there is frustration, or there's also brain fog. There's two things that can happen. It can be irritability or there can be brain fog that happens before PMS. This is more of vata and pitta aggravation, where things are, instead of going downwards, it goes upwards. And so for some people, there's headaches also, there's nausea, all of these things that happen during that time. So here what's happening is, what is the natural flow of vata? Which way should it go? Downward. So that's the natural flow of vata. But if there is excessive vata, then vata, what it does, which is a hurricane, a vata which is a hurricane, what happens to that vata? It goes upwards, right? So the doshas that were supposed to go downwards, now by mistake, because of excessive vata, is spiraling and coming upwards. Imagine that hurricane that's happening in the body at that time. Then of course we're going to get migraines. Of course we're going to get headaches. Of course there's acidity, nausea. Any of this can happen, or even palpitations, even brain fog, irritability. Any of these, depending upon your vulnerability, can happen. So what do we do? Imagine all your life. Go back to your entire life, what you have done. Look at all the vata aggravating things that you have done. Did you eat properly? Was there timely food that you have been eating all the time? Did you include proper, lubrication in your diet? Is there proper lubrication, ghee, or any kind of milk, ghee, grains, any of this proper lubrication? Were you sleeping properly? Was there a lot of fear, grief, and worry? Was there a lot of activity beyond your capacity? Were you exercising during periods? If you're exercising during your period, then of course there's a hurricane that you're creating. Things are wanting to go down and you're creating it upwards. And of course, there's going to be a hurricane that you're creating every single month. And this is something that you'll deal with for the rest of your life, unless you intervene. So that is a vata or even pitta. If you were including a lot of spicy, sour, salty foods, if you were like a stickler, I want things to be done this way only, and that's how you're increasing pitta, then anger and irritability can happen just before your period, right? So for your PMS, it is important that especially here for us, what we do is we give vata anulomana dravyas, which means we bring the vata downwards. We give food diet, food, lifestyle, and herbs that brings things downwards. Especially Dashamula is something that is 10 roots that is present in Ayurveda, and we give a tea made out of that. And you drink that with 1 to 2 drops of castor oil, you see the magic that things will come down. And the brain fog or the migraines or any of that, you will feel much, much better. You do that for a month or two, you see that there's digestion that happens, and it also helps. Or even, taking applying warm castor oil on your abdomen and putting a hot pack is also going to bring things down. Or you can also include some particular teas. You can include chamomile tea, you can include lavender tea, you can include lemon ginger tea, not lemon ginger, but I would say chamomile tea or lavender tea. These are the teas that you would want to include to bring things down. So that is how you're going to be taking care of the multiple conditions that you would experience during your periods. Yeah. Now, how to reduce tiredness after your periods. So that means I'm noticing you said that you get migraines and you're tired after the periods. Notice that there's a lot of depletion in the body. So when the period is coming out, there is depletion that is created, and there's a lot of excessive vata that is created in the body. So I'm assuming that, historically, there was probably not a lot of lubrication that you've done for your body. This is again my assumption. So very important to go back and look at, am I including proper ghee in my diet? Am I including proper grains in my diet? Am I sleeping well? And if there is excessive tiredness afterwards, do Abhyanga, which is a full body oil massage after the periods. During periods, please do not do that. But after the periods, you can apply full body oil massage, and you see that the tiredness, because skin is a big mouth and it's going to be beneficial for that. Or if you're able to digest, good, 1 cup of warm milk with 1 teaspoon of ghee in it and 2 strands of saffron and a little bit of rock sugar in it. You can mix it very well and drink that. So you're actually replenishing, because this is all proper juices, no? Women are supposed to be juicy. And if these juices are going out of the body, of course, depletion is going to happen. So we're trying to replenish these juices somehow. And that juiciness is going to come from when you're applying Abhyanga, or when you're taking these proper warm milk and ghee, and all of these things is going to be beneficial for you. Yeah. And again, do that on a daily basis. You cannot do it just 1 month, and consistency is the key. That's how it's going to be beneficial. So castor oil, again, it all depends on how severe the condition is. If the PMS is happening like a week in advance, then you would want to start it 10 days in advance. You want to apply warm oil. Again, this is it's not a preventive forever. It's more of you're maintaining it. You're just taking care of it at that time. So you can start 10 days before. You can apply and then put a hot pack. 10 days, and every day is okay. Before is better. Before, like 10 days before, if the PMS is happening 1 week before the periods. How to improve the quality of sleep before and during periods, very important. So like I said, when we examined the stages of the doshas that are dominant in the body during our phases, normally also each one of us have dominance in particular dosha. Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm dominant with Vata dosha and Pitta dosha as well. If you are in the Kapha stage, you'll be happy because you're all balanced out. But when you're coming to the Vata stage of the cycle, and we spoke about how the Vata stage of the cycle is the end of the cycle, the secretory phase. During the secretory phase, there's already depletion that's happening. Vata is aggravated, and you're already a Vata personality. Then, of course, your sleep is going to be disrupted. So, it is important that you can apply warm oil to your feet, do a foot massage. Make sure that you have warm blanket that you're covering yourself. And you can even cool your eyes, put some cucumber or rose water on your eyes. Do a good head massage and enjoy good music, any music that you love, put that music on, and good fragrance that you're going to be putting in your room. All of this. So prepare in such a way that you do everything possible and absolutely no physical activity before and during periods so that your vata is not aggravated. Again, I'm talking about those that already have a vata pitta personality and they're suffering from vata imbalance during and before periods. You want to make sure you're doing everything possible that's not aggravating your vata. If you're a teacher, if you have talked too much, then that aggravates your vata. If you are if you have to work in the night shift, then that aggravates your vata. So other than what your regular work is, you want to make sure all the other vata aggravating features like driving, talking, not sleeping on time, eating properly, all of this is taken care of. No excessive physical activity. And following all this nighttime ritual before you go to bed. And you do this on a consistent basis. And throughout the month, you want to make sure that your vata is pacified. You're balancing your vata. Then you'll see that the improvement will happen. Yeah. Dashmul tea and castor oil be taken throughout the month or just during the cycle? It must be taken throughout the month. So castor oil is just 1 ml, just 1 ml of the castor oil throughout the month is going to be beneficial, especially if you're suffering from a lot of headaches, migraines, and hurricane is happening in the body, then 1 month of this is going to be beneficial. Can we use any other oil on the body instead of castor oil? So castor oil, definitely do not do an abhyanga with that. Please, no castor oil abhyanga. Castor oil is only for local application. But the oil that I prefer and Ayurveda recommends is always sesame oil, warm sesame oil. But if there is a lot of heat in the body and you don't like the smell of it, almond oil is also okay. You can do that. Or if there is excessive vata and you're able to handle, then coconut oil is okay as well. If it's warm kind of temperatures. Then sesame oil, organic unrefined sesame oil is what I would prefer that you use all over your body. Yeah. So that is about periods. Any other questions that you have during menstruation or any other symptoms that you're experiencing?
So I wanted to ask about exercise again, because you were basically saying did you say don't do any exercise before your period? So then you're basically taking out, a week and a half to 2 weeks out of the 4-week month, right? So
this is especially for those that are suffering from vata aggravation. It is not for everybody.
Got it. Okay.
So for everybody who are maintaining their physiology normally, then you can do a proper, you can always do your exercise until before your period and then stop. There are certain things, and we're going to talk about all the things that you must follow, the regimen that you must follow during your period. But just that 5 days, 3 to 5 days normally is enough. But if you are someone who's experiencing all of these symptoms, then you want to be careful. That's all.
Can you repeat how to use castor oil for pitta dosha? Like you said, for headaches and all. Like, do we put it in the mom milk or water, or how do we use that?
It's called Dashimula tea, where you get, you can just get, maybe dashmul, cut dashmul is available. You can get or dashmul powder is available. You can take 1 teaspoon of dashmul in 2 cups of water, boil it till half a cup remains, filter that, add 1 ml of castor oil, and you can take that. Okay.
I have a follow-up question on the
Sure.
exercise.
Uh-huh.
It's a little bit confusing. It's always told that yoga poses and all will help with the abdomen cramps, right? If you do it before. So like 10 days before periods, not doing if we have Vata symptoms. Um, on the other hand, we also hear it's good, it helps with the cramps and pains. So it's like two contradictory thoughts, right?
Absolutely. Makes sense. So I'm sorry, I don't know your name. It says iPhone 5. Sorry, I didn't know that. Your name?
Bhavna.
Bhavna. Hi, Bhavna.
Yeah.
So again, I say this all the time. There is never a universal answer for anybody. It is not possible for anybody to say that you just do this for everybody. And again, that is not what I'm saying. I did not say that none of you, if you have a Vata dosha, do not exercise 8 days before. No, I did not say that. I want to be clear of that. If you're suffering from Vata symptoms, which is degenerative symptoms and depleting symptoms, then you want to take care of it until it gets back to normal. Then go back to your exercises. That's what I meant. Yeah. Number one, I want to clarify that. Number two, absolutely, the stretching and all of the yoga postures are important for the flow of energy to happen properly, because these are all subtle channels that are present in the body. These are very sukshma, minute channels that are present. And when you do yoga, you are activating the prana to go into these minute channels. That is going to be extremely beneficial, there's no doubt. But what kind of yoga are you doing? What kind of stretches are you doing? So many yogas available. I wouldn't know what yoga, right? I mean, this in the beginning days, I don't know if any of you go to Bikram yoga, but 19 years ago, I would go to Bikram yoga, which is like, yeah. So anyway, yoga is something that you have to come close to your soul. It is about union of your soul, but it was more of a exercise driven. If that is there, then I would not want you to do that. If you're doing stretches where your life force is going through your cellular, to your smallest of the cells, and it's activating your minutest channels, absolutely go for it. So I will never give you a straight answer, yes or no, because there is never a straight answer, unfortunately, Bhavna. I hope that that clarified and did not confuse you.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I'm just trying to understand how everything works. Yeah, thanks for the clarifications. If I'm understanding correctly, it's okay to do stretches and like walking and cardio. For example, perhaps as I've heard, like it's okay to do weights in the first half, but it's not recommended in the second half. So that kind of fits with what you're saying. So yeah, I was just trying to get more clarity there. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. So that's that. And now, if nobody has any questions, then we can move to what is the diet and lifestyle that we must follow during periods. Yeah. So Ayurveda has given a very methodical prescription of what we need to do. So absolutely, when do doshas aggravate? Doshas aggravate, and we know this. Doshapi sarve mande gnau, low digestive fire is the cause of doshas to aggravate. And we know that the low digestive fire happens because of all the excessive foods that we might have eaten, or lifestyle that we might not have eaten. So protecting your digestive fire and not aggravating your doshas is the most important thing. So if we know the principle, then I don't have to get into the details. At least we know the principle of, I want to make sure that at least during my periods, I don't want to aggravate my doshas, because I know that in the uterine cavity, there's a lot of blood, and these doshas will go and do mischief with this blood, and I don't want that to happen. So for that to happen, make sure at this time that you want to eat the lightest foods possible. You want to make sure that you're eating mudga, which is green gram, or mung dal or green gram is what you would want to use, along with, it says that you have to eat like this much, the food that fills in your palm, how much ever food that fills in your palm, that much you have to eat. And they also say that rice along with milk, warm milk, is the diet that is actually recommended, because that's so calming, and it replenishes the juices that you're getting rid of. See how how methodical and how skillful they have recommended that. And including soups, like green gram soups, are going to be beneficial. And absolutely avoiding oily food, any refrigerated food, deep fried food, or fish is going to be very important. Include ghee in this time. It's important that you include ghee. And you want to make sure that you rest as much possible. And you want to include cooling foods. You can include like coconut water, banana, pomegranates, like something that reduces your excessive pitta. Especially during this time, you want to stay away from spicy, sour, and salty foods like the pickles. If you want to eat the pickles and the chili sauce and all of that, stay away from that. But you want to include all the gourds, the squashes, the green gram, the milk, the ghee, the pomegranates, almonds. These kind of things is what you would want to do. And then the thoughts. We spoke about how our emotional stresses can go and they can always trigger. So you want to make sure that you are doing if you came to my clinic, I'm sure you would have gotten some breath work or some meditation. It is important that you follow this breath work and meditation, especially during this period, so that you are not succumbed to any emotional. Do not take any decisions during this time, because we know that for women, this is a controversial statement that is actually written in Ashtanga Hridayam, and this is a debate for many women. They say that women should not take any difficult decisions must not be taken by women, or important decisions must not be taken by women. That raises so many women activists. They're like, what? Why can we not take many decisions, right? How can Ashtanga Hridayam say that? How can he say that? So it is because the yo-yoing that happens of the estrogen and the progesterone in the body. What is estrogen and progesterone? It is the doshas that are the doshas that are going and managing and maintaining our ovarian strength are all are estrogen and progesterone. So because they're going yo-yoing to maintain whatever environment, we have a different environment every month. That is going to affect our mind. And because that's going to affect our mind, we will not be in a stable condition to make a decision. And that's why he's written it. So to maintain that proper, stable condition, using all the tools possible, whatever tools that we can, the breath work and meditation is very, very important. And Jyoti, absolutely, buttermilk is very good. That's also going to be reducing your pitta. And for those that have excessive burning sensation, especially during perimenopausal time where there's hot flashes and all of that happens, the coriander water, you infuse coriander infused water. You take 1 tablespoon of coriander in 1 cup of water, soak it overnight, squeeze the coriander seeds, filter that, and drink that. That also is going to be reducing your pitta or balancing your pitta. And the vetiver roots is another one. You can soak 10 roots of vetiver in 1 cup of water. You soak it overnight, drink that water. That also is going to be beneficial. Yeah. What's your take on coffee and tea consumption effect?
Sorry, what roots you said?
Vetiver. I'm going to write it here.
Vetiver.
Vetiver, vetiver roots. Called Ushira. Okay. Bhargavi, I'm going to ask you, what is the quality of coffee? That way we will all, because we're all going to get so many questions. My way of teaching is I want to explain what is the quality. That way you get the qualities and we are able to answer all the questions. What are the qualities of coffee? You didn't think that I will put you on the spot.
No. Quality, like the nature of coffee.
Yeah, so talk in the terms of hot, cold, or drying, slimy, heavy, light. These are the qualities that we're talking about.
Maybe hot and drying.
Exactly. So it is hot and drying. So if you're drinking coffee during that time, hot and drying aggravates what doshas? Debanti is my star student. She has attended all my classes, and that's why I look at her all the time.
Is it pitta and also maybe vata?
Absolutely right, Bhargavi. Absolutely right. And so, if you're, again, I'm not saying that you can never have coffee or tea during your periods, but if your vata and pitta is already affecting your period, and if you take coffee and tea on top of it, you know that like increases like, and you're only going to be aggravating vata and pitta during that time. Now it's super easy for me because I never drink coffee and tea, and I can always say no. But I know when we have something called a dry diet, when we put people on panchakarma, and they're like, if I say no milk, then people get, this coffee headaches and tea headaches happen. So I know. So then what would you do at that time? Your body is used to it. Your body is used to getting that kick. What do you do at that time? You want to make sure that there is more milk and less coffee. That way, you're at least reducing the amount of hot and drying effects from the caffeine. So, proper amount of milk, more milk and less coffee. And add sugar. Make sure that you're adding sugar. Do not drink sugarless. And tea, the caffeine amount in tea is better than the caffeine amount in coffee. So that's why that is going to be okay. So, and reducing the quantity. If you were drinking, 1 cup, reduce that to half a cup. If you're drinking 2 cups, reduce that to 1 cup. So I'm not saying in my school, 60% is passing in flying colors. I never ever aim for you have to follow all the rules 100%, because if you do that, then you'll never be able to enjoy life. Life is to have fun as well. So reducing that, if you think that if that's affecting your periods, is very important. Yeah. Can you consume the soaked coriander seeds as well, or should? Yeah, I no, don't blend it. No, don't consume that, Debanti. It's going to be too, because I mean, of course, coriander is not heating, but it is the water that is cooling. It is not the coriander seeds that's going to. Coriander seeds are going to be beneficial for pachana purpose, which is breaking down your food. It's not going to be helping you with, I know it's going to be a waste, but no, don't just drink the water. That is good enough. Yeah. So that's the kind of diet and lifestyle that you would want to include during your menstruation. Now, we spoke about PMS, we spoke about menstruation and different things that happen during your menstruation. If we have to talk about, perimenopause and menopause, let's just touch a little bit. And if you all think that we want to do it, and because we have only 10 minutes, I thought that I'll just do some completion for the topic. That way, next time if we do it, if we can do it fresh again, or if you feel like we wanted a part 2, we can always do a part 2. But what's going on during this time? It's, in the beginning, when the puberty was happening, it's more like the buds. We were waiting for the buds, we were waiting for the bloom to happen. Now the flowers are decayed. So there's no more flowers. If you get to a 30 years, you only have 10% of your egg reserve of what you were born with. When you come to 40, you only have 2 to 3% of your egg reserve. And remember that this egg reserve is what is creating the juices in your body, the amount, the plumpiness that you have, the breast being strong and your plumpiness, the curves that you have. All of this is because of the amount of egg reserve that you've had. Now, suddenly you're causing depletion. When this depletion is happening, you are definitely going into that vata stage of the life. You're going into the depletion stage of the life. When that depletion stage of the life happens, of course, you're going to be getting all of the depletion in your joints. The joints are going to be, the cartilage is going to be depleted. Imagine all the areas where kapha is. There is something called shleshaka kapha in your joints. It join and the cartilage that's present. The cartilage is reducing, and of course that's when you get the joint pains, or you get the the creaks, the cracks in the joints, or there's excessive hot flashes. You experience that there's sweating that happens, or there is a lot of hair loss that can happen, or there's brain fog that can happen, or there's suddenly asthma that can happen. You even trigger asthma during this time, or sleeplessness, insomnia, or reduce, you're like dragging yourself, this tiredness that happens. Suddenly all of these symptoms dawn upon you. And menopause is that one day that you experience, year after no period. There is no period that was seen for 1 year, and then one day after that 1 year of no period is officially called as menopause. But let me tell you, when we do panchakarma, a lot of times when we do panchakarma, actually, this time it happened, this month it happened to 3 women. Their periods just came on after we started the pachana. We started the dry diet, and we were just doing, what was happening is we were just doing the pachana. We were doing the removal of any toxic metabolic waste that is blocking the ovum from coming out. And when that happened, periods happened, they were shocked. They were like, oh, we didn't think that our periods would come on. Right? So that happens quite a few times. That's something that we've seen. So remember what we spoke about. What are the stages that happen during our menstruation? And when we're getting to your 40s, and when we're getting to, normally the pushpa darshana, which is the ovum, the ovulation happens between age 12 to 50, which is normal. That is agreed upon in both Ayurveda and allopathy world. And when you get closer to 50, that is when you're getting to the vata and pitta stage of your pitta is done, and you're getting to the vata stage of the life. So the depletion is already happening. Now, that's when the drying is happening, and which is why you feel that the hair quality becomes drier, and you lose hair, you start losing hair, and there's dryness in the eyes that you feel. All of this dryness that you feel is because of the aggravation of the vata. Which is why, again, I'm going to go back to the same thing, where vata pacification is the most important thing for you to preserve yourself during your menopausal years. And yes, there is a lot of talk on how estrogen supplementation, HRTs are given, and people are confused that, oh, should I get HRT because I don't want to go through all of these conditions, even hypothyroidism is seen. I don't want to get through all of these conditions and just giving estrogen. Yes, estrogen does have the quality of reduction of vata. Estrogen does have the quality, and even there's vaginal creams. You can have like the transdermal estrogen as well. So there's so many different varieties where estrogen can be given, which is something that is given in the Western world. Now, I cannot say that you can take estrogen because it is, again, chikitsa, any treatment is something that you should not be getting any other side effects. Right? Now, there are studies that, breast cancer studies have been done. When you're a breast cancer survivor, definitely nobody will give you estrogen supplements, right? So, which means that you never know what kind of side effects you're signing up for. For that reason, look at all the ways that your kapha can be preserved and also included in that time. What are we running for? Why are we working so hard? Especially at that time, this is when we're making a career. Our kids are growing. So imagine, how can we slow down? How can we utilize our breath? Maybe create some resonance breath. and make sure that you are activating your parasympathetic nervous system. When you do that, your vata is not always in the flight or fight mode, and that is definitely going to be reducing. Depletion has to happen. The day you're born, depletion starts. Of course, you're growing and then depleting, but you are slowing the rate of your depletion when you do all of these things. And the most important thing that I always tell everybody to do this is Abhyanga. Apply oil during this time, during your perimenopausal years. Apply your Abhyanga. Check your vitamin D. If your vitamin D is low, please go ahead and get your vitamin D supplements. That is okay. And because, applying oil all over your body is also going to be allowing your skin to, get that sunlight better and process your vitamin D better as well. Yeah. And including proper amount of milk and ghee and grains is also very, very important. And getting your breath work and sleeping properly. These are all the things that you must follow. And when you follow, you will see that you are reducing the rate at which the depletion is happening and you are aging with grace. And another thing that I also have been recommending lately is weight training is very important because you want to preserve and you want to strengthen your muscles. That weight training is something that you can add during your, you don't have to wait until your perimenopausal years. You can start sooner, especially in the follicular stage. You want to include weight training and you want to strengthen because your kapha, the sthira, the stronger your kapha is in the body, the stronger and healthier you are. And that is why it is important to tone your body whenever it's possible and rest your body. So yesterday I heard someone say the balance stays with stability and mobility. When you're stable and when you're mobile, that is what the key is for us to maintain these doshas and use them to our advantage. We don't want to, we're not going to be going to war and then training our soldiers. We're going to be preparing because we know that we're going to get there. Before we get there, these are all our soldiers, our doshas, our dhatus, our agni. All of these are our soldiers, and we want to make sure that we strengthen them before we get there. Yeah. So that's the last thoughts that I had. Thank you for patiently waiting and listening to all of this. I hope that it was helpful to at least some of you. And if you all request, then we can do part 2 next time or, the time after. Okay, we can do that. We will do the part 2 and then we can take questions. Because we did not speak about endometriosis, there's fibroids, there's PCOS, there's so many different conditions that happen, and especially infertility and fertility and postpartum. What are the things that you want to do during postpartum? These are all the things that we can talk about, and important to also let all our friends at this time also and encourage them to follow this lifestyle, so that, because it feels like, when you come to the perimenopausal years, you feel like helpless. And hysterectomy or hysteroscopy, these are all the things that are mentioned, and absolutely preserving and storing your body parts is important. So for that, we all can empower our own friends around us with all of this knowledge. Yeah. So thank you all so much, and I will see you all next month.
Thank you,
Manju, how
Dr.
to
Manju.
see
Thank you.
recording?
Yes. Bye.
Manju, how
you,
to get to
Manju.
the recording?
Recording will be on our YouTube, Jigisha.
Okay.
I will post it there and I can send it to you all. Not a problem.
Okay, because I think one of the other one I had to leave halfway, so I can even catch up
Sure,
whatever
sure.
I have missed.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
They're all on my YouTube.
Thank you.
No problem. You
Loved all the session, what you are putting together. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. All right. You take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank